November 15th, 1966. Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Two couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Millette, were joyriding north of the small town when the headlights of their car reflected off two strange, red, round objects. It wasn't long before the lights revealed these circles to be the eyes of a 7-foot-tall winged man. Terrified by the monster, the group's car slammed on the reverse, racing away from the scene. Over a year later, on December 15, 1967, Point Pleasant's Silver Bridge, which connected West Virginia and Ohio, collapsed during rush hour traffic, killing 46. When interviewed, the survivors said that right before the disaster, that same winged creature had been seen in the area around the bridge, seemingly acting as an omen of the oncoming tragedy. In the following decades, this Mothman became a staple of Point Pleasant, with the city dedicating a statue to the legend, and one of the residents of the town opening a museum all about the cryptid, showcasing several artifacts and many pieces of merchandise. Underneath the museum, however, lies a shrine maintained by mystics who believe they can divine more from the Mothman's presence than simply capitalizing on tourism.
We of the cult of the Mothman seek the infinite cosmic wisdom of the Mothman himself, for it is his appearance that portends disaster, and in heeding his warnings, we may live as others around us perish to their fated doom. We welcome visits from the Mothman with open arms and minds. Yes, we shall willingly summon him forth to appear to us who revere him and divulge his secret. True believers among you, gather for this evening. We welcome you, O Mothman. Accept our humble invitation and divert us from disaster.
This cult revered the Mothman as a protector of humanity, appearing to those wise enough to heed his warnings of impending doom, such as on the Silver Bridge that fateful December day. With the ongoing war between the US and China, the cult performed a ritual to summon the Mothman, believing that, if their insectoid patron appeared, it was a sure sign that the end was nigh. This ritual was performed on October 21st, 2077, and the next day, they received their answer.
The all-knowing Mothman has been summoned forth. Though we were not all so lucky to notice it. Brother Charles saw the Mothman appear out of the corner of his eye, and heard whispers of impending disaster. But as quickly as he appeared, our Savior was gone. The Mothman showed visions of terrible floods to occur tomorrow. The only way to survive, he says, is to find high ground or be swept away. Our brothers and sisters will be warned. Those who scoff at us and turn away from the way of the Mothman shall perish for their foolish disregard, while we gather on the rooftops to praise the coming of the raging waters in the early dawn light.
With the oncoming fate of the world revealed to them, the cult made their preparations to save themselves from the oncoming flood at the behest of the Mothman. With these revelations, though, a schism formed within the cult. One sect chose to stay in Point Pleasant and follow the Mothman's instructions, while another made a pilgrimage to the Lucky Hole Mine, a decommissioned mine in Appalachia's Savage Divide. Led by Brother Charles, the same faithful that saw the vision of the Mothman, this group believed that the ones in Point Pleasant worshipped the red-eye pretender Mothman, a false prophet. Knowing his vision was from the true purple-eyed wise Mothman, the group fled to the mine to wait out the flood. On October 23rd, 2077, the foretold flood came. But it was not one of water, but rather one of fire and radiation, with the war finally escalating to nuclear devastation. The cultists that stayed in Point Pleasant were destroyed, bathed in the hellfire of atomic annihilation. The ones in the Lucky Hole Mine, however, survived, waiting out the devastation from within the murky depths. During their time in the mine, though, a new mystical being was discovered. Labeled as an interloper by the cult's leadership, many of the cultists began worshipping this new beast instead of the once beloved Mothman. Realizing their congregation had fallen to apostasy, those still loyal to the Mothman left the mine, establishing a new church outside of Appalachia, known as the Lantern. Belief in the pretender Mothman slowly re-emerged throughout Appalachia in the time after the bombs, when his followers re-established various sites of worship and Mothman hatcheries as civilization attempted to rebuild. Soon, though, the scorched plague would sweep the region, forcing many of the Winged One's followers to flee, and those that didn't either died or were transformed into shambling zombies. Eventually, the scorched threat would be destroyed, and human settlers would return to West Virginia, including the followers of the pretender Mothman, who have fortified various strongholds to ensure their faith's survival. During the equinoxes, the faithful of the Lantern, now referring to themselves as the Enlightened, return to the home of the Mothman to perform a holy ritual to summon the true, wise Mothman, so that he, if willing, may share his wisdom with the true believers. If they can survive the heretics' attempt to stop their ritual.
The wise Mothman will eat many asses at Denny's.